Okay. Hey, Joe. You're the only one. Well, both didn't wear a mask. I have one on over to chamber thing, but I left it in my bag.
Mine's it.
So we're here tonight for a called Dresden City Board meeting. It's actually about 6:35 p.m. And once again, I apologize for being late. I was over at the Chamber of Commerce meeting where they were discussing some what I consider important business for the county, the merger of the Chamber of Commerce and the Joint Economic Community Development Board. And they have voted to move forward as well as did the Weekly County Joint Economic Community Development Board. There will be a time when the cities will be asked to probably look at the bylaws that are come up with and things in regard to that merger. And you at that time will have the opportunity to provide input to me and our city representatives on the various boards in regard to whether to move forward or adopt that proposal. But I would remind you that the city of Dresden, as well as the other cities in the county, as well as the Weekly County government, provide the funding for it. So I think there's an accountability to each of those local governments about how it's to operate and what's going to be done with the funds and those things. But we won't know what that is until the plan's put together, and it's going to take some long hours to bring that together as far as proposed bylaws to operate jointly and things like that. So my idea about that is let's see what develops, and then at some later point the cities will have the opportunity to provide input whether that's something we want to fund or not fund and carry forward. The purpose of tonight's meeting is, of course, to hear a proposal about a grant and us providing funding for a broadband internet expansion grant under the CARES Act, which is one of the acts that's come about because of COVID-19, and it's provide funding and things of that nature. I'm going to let the CEO of West Kentucky, Tennessee Telecommunications provide us with information on it, Mr. Bonstetter, Trevor Bonstetter, and most of you have met him before when he was here 2 or 3 years ago now, and attended our meetings, and we worked through those. So Trevor, if you would, just tell us what's going on with this grant and what the expectations are from the city and any other governmental entities that might be participating.
Well, let me first, if you give me a minute, one is I have back to thank you since the bill's been done, from our partnership to bring broadband to the citizens of Dresden has been a huge success. That's directly related to your participation, but even more so the staff, from the people locating water lines and making sure that we didn't tear up the town as we go through. And those times that we did tear it up, the people here in the office that would get a hold of us and say, hey, we got a yard that's messed up, we need to get back and fix that yard. So it was a great partnership, and it was one of the better partnerships we've had. We've had a few good ones over the last few years, but this is right up there with the rest of them that have been really good. And just that partnership that's made it really well. We have 429, residents that have hooked up. It's really kind of, we still have hookups that are taking place, but we're not actually out knocking on any doors right now, which we would be doing on a consistent basis. And the reason is because, as you would know, COVID and being respectful of people's space. We do some outbound calling when we can get numbers for outbound calling to reach out to them, to talk to them about their needs. But this project came on us really quick. Here with me tonight is Tiffany Myers, our CFO. She led on this grant proposal. We had about 5 days to work it up for the state. Very quick turn time. We will actually find out this Friday if we're the recipient of this grant. They wanted us to come back with proposals of providing broadband that would have the greatest impact to communities or citizens in the state. And we really don't know how much money's out there. We've heard a lot of different things about what money could be or not be out there. But there was $89 million, I believe, that was applied for. A lot of good grant applications. And we are one of those many that are out there that I think will be on the top of the list if we can receive funding. Bobby Good's here with us. Bobby's been working with us since his retirement. Very passionate about providing services to rural citizens across. Bobby's been in a bunch of states. We used to say Tennessee. Bobby's been with us as you know, a resident here, and really important to our team about what we're doing because a lot of the money comes from the federal side. So he knows a lot of what's going on there. So with this grant that we came back and talked about, is the grant is to do something that we do not, and we have through our research have not found that any location in the United States, and I'm going to be very specific, and I hope you can hear me with the mask on. Can you? Okay. Very specific that fiber availability and fiber connectivity are two different things. Fiber availability in 2010, Chattanooga was the first 100% fiber available community in the United States. It was on CBS News all over the place when the Energy Power Board or the EPB down there came out and put that fiber, made available for every citizen to live in that community to have connectivity. But it did not connect every citizen. There's a difference between that. Our proposal that we put before the state is to connect up every citizen inside the city limits of Dresden. In doing so, we would have over 11, it's hard to do this with glasses that keep fogging, so I'll take them on and off, but well, there's over 1,250 locations inside the city limits. We have applied for $2,281,000 for the bill. The grant portion is 80% of that, just over $1 million. West Kentucky will put $256,000 or 20%. We have partners that we're working with. They have to go through their boards and discussions too, so we can't disclose all the partners that are involved right now. We have one partner who's very interested, made commitment just like you have of the idea of doing this for the citizens and having 100% connectivity, but they're not there and they haven't met as of today. But we've asked for $30,000 from that partner. We have one partner that we talked to because of the short duration of time. That partner was not able to pull the trigger by any means. We'll go back and talk to them as we get further along with the grant. And then $30,000 from you. The idea would be is that all students, all citizens, all businesses that have no connectivity today or want to have 25 megabits down and 3 megabits up would receive that service up to 2 to 3 months of free service. So what we would do is we would plow a drop. It's going to cost us about $1,000 a home to plow a drop and install everything in the house for every citizen inside the city limits. With that, they would receive service for 2 to 3 months if we can land that third partner and pay $30,000. We end up putting in $200 a home. The grant will end up putting in $800 a home. And then we ask for $25, I believe is what the price is, we're asking for service. Today, if you were to sign up a service for us, 100 megabits down and 100 megabits up, right, is $89. So with that, we cut a very low discounted rate, but it's only going to be through, we would actually house it through the city or one of the partners where that billing element would come through. That's how we can get the efficiencies. I can't individual bill everybody inside the city limits for still doing that. If they wanted more, that was one of the questions the mayor asked. If somebody would want more, we would discount that rate of the take $25 off that 89. If somebody already has service, they can't fall in this because it can't be specific to the grant. If you cannot get any state money, which is actually federal money, if there's already connectivity at that house. You can't do anything. And that's why we would need to make sure we separate. And I know there'll be those 429. We're really appreciative of their customers, but the other side of it is we don't want to block ourselves from not receiving this state money by the city or us doing anything that block that money. So the grant should be announced on Friday. We only have till December 15th to hook up every single drop inside the city limits. So we've already started making plans internally how we make this work. And we'd be back with the staff here trying to make sure that we do the best job we possibly can to make sure that we take care of the yards, the roads, everything around, like we did with our previous bill. The key to this is work from home, virtual learning, telemedicine, commerce. My parents are in their 80s. We get their groceries for the most part. We try to make sure that they don't go into Walmart as much as we possibly can, but we try to get it so they can actually order their groceries online on their iPad and go pull up and have them loaded up. So that's the commerce pipe. So it is directly related, and I think the mayor and I's conversation where we were really talking about children and education from home and making sure that homes were connected. But I think after the conversation, after about 10 minutes, we kind of got to the point of there's other people inside the community that have no connectivity, that not having connectivity today is affecting their life with COVID taking place. Tiffany, did I hit all the high points of the money side? Is there anything you'd like to add?
Can't figure out, did you get all the dollars
No,
and customers and?
Just that this would be a great opportunity for the city to be the first rural town in the United States to have every citizen connected. And for an investment of $30,000 on the project we're talking about that we do all the time, that investment of $30,000 is just minuscule. And not only that, they're going to have it free for at least a month or a couple months, depending on if the other partners come through, which one of them probably will for sure. But what a great thing to be able to publish that Dresden, Tennessee has fiber connected to every home. And I mean, we all know school started yesterday, Monday. You know, McKinsey school started last week. They've already stopped. Bradford school started last Monday. They said 37 home Friday. I mean, at some point, a lot of these kids are going to have to start going back home for different reasons. And if we could have this connectivity, I mean, that's like having a virtual school in Dresden for them. So that's my.
Alderman Anderson.
Okay, so to understand, we've got 821 sites in the city of Dresden that are remaining not connected to the system. Actually, we got 429 connected, right?
Now, there's a total of, what we've asked for in the grant is a funding that would fund between 1,120 to 1,250. There's over 1,600 homes and businesses from the home
Okay,
count.
so these are your county, you're telling me how many we don't have, which is about 1,200?
Yes, about 1,250,
Okay.
between 1,120 and 1,250.
Let me redo my math real quick, you know, I'm not relenting the floor. 1,250. Okay, $24 a house. So for $24, what you're asking out of us, you're going to put fiber into these people's homes. You're going to build it into there, and they'll have a Wi-Fi connection. I'm saying if they got a smartphone, they're going to be able to connect them to the internet at that point.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll make a motion. We do that deal.
I got another question.
All right. Oh. Got a motion. Let's hold the motion. I'll accept your motion and let's discuss further.
You're working under the assumption that everybody in Dresden wants this service, correct?
I'm working under the assumption that we'll have the availability to hook up everybody with this grant.
You're not going to force it on people.
We won't force it on anybody. If
It's
somebody,
like older people that have no use for this particular service. Is that going to be counted good as far as your grant is concerned?
yeah, we actually put an estimation in the grant to make sure that if somebody did not want to be hooked up, that we would not hook them up.
So they're not going to come in and install something people don't want.
We've never hooked up anybody that doesn't want to. Now, we will do an educated, what we discussed was we're going to have community, we got to get the community really behind the idea, because if we want to have the first 100% connected community, if we're not close to that 100%, it's going to be awful hard to run the ad campaign about the technology small town in the world is right here in Dresden. It's going to be hard if we don't have. So we're going to have to jointly, it'll just be 30,000, but it's a lot of sweat equity we're all gonna put in it together. Hopefully, everybody in this room too.
Alderman Moore, any more questions? Okay. Alderman Anderson, you have your hand.
Well, then, in the follow-up on that, you're gonna put the availability that if they decided to turn it on, then you can say yes. You know, all they have to do is say yes.
We will actually, we'll go to every home. We will talk to them. If they say you're not stepping foot on our property, we will, what we may do is have a conversation with, is there somebody that we can help with having a conversation to say, this is part of what we're trying to do in Dresden. And if they say you're not coming on our property, we're not coming. We're not gonna destroy anybody's personal property whatsoever. It's not our goal. But we're not gonna hook it up if they're not gonna take the service because.
Okay, if someone in the current situation of where we're operating now, if someone called in, someone new moved into town and say they want to have fiber and it's not in their house currently, they bought a new house and it's not in there, how much does that cost them to do that?
We don't charge anything for installation today.
Okay.
And if somebody has this 25.3, they're going in their house and they're like me or you that has 100 or 250 and they want that, they'll just put that in there. Because, I mean, it's, the line's there. They pump up the speed to,
Yeah.
I guess, a gig in Dresden, I don't know. So once it's there, it's available.
Again, I make a motion that we commit to funding this.
Got a motion and second. Any further discussion?
Here, I did have a question, if I may. Mr. Bonstetter, you're speaking in terms of homes inside the city of Dresden. My concern is not just on behalf of the city, because the board of mayor and aldermen represent a significant number of business owners as well. Where do the businesses play in? Because as a business owner myself, I think I can speak for the mayor, Dr. Anderson's an optometrist, and several others. Where do the business owners fall as far as the connectivity in this grant structure?
I apologize because I was not specific to that. Businesses are included in our numbers. So our goal is, and we hope that the goal is as a community is that we want to hook up 100% of every home and every business inside the city. And then we talked about a Wi-Fi spot, another Wi-Fi spot to be put in. So there's some things also in there that I just kind of hit the high levels, but you have a very good point.
Well, that was my concern since, for example, the mayor and I are right here on the court square. Dr. Anderson's a block from here, and we're thinking, if we're speaking of homes, where does that leave the business owners? Because that's been our whole point with bringing connectivity is recruiting business, recruiting industry.
But some of us went ahead and put it in when it come around the first time. But
Have you met the other component of my office?
Aren't you glad you did?
We've got great connection up there on Boulder Street.
I know, but
Yeah, I got a great one on that.
I've been
So what
pushing
about the
for it.
ones, maybe there's some that's still hooked to the other company here in town? And what if they want to?
We would hook up everybody that wants to hook up, and if somebody says that they absolutely don't want us, they want to stay hooked where they're at, we'll work on that campaign, but we're not going to force anybody to change.
Well, I think what I understand, what you're saying that they wouldn't qualify, but if you have somebody already
They
paying
qualify
for
because
Frontier.
I'm sorry. They qualify. Let me use this as an example. In the city of Martin, could not apply for this grant because they have spectrum and their speeds that they receive within the city limits are beyond what the grant would allow. Inside the city limits of Dresden, we can apply because the speeds are not to the level of what spectrum.
So someone that's currently connected to Frontier would qualify for this
Yes.
for the first thing, because their speeds are not up
Yes.
to the
Yes, sir.
levels that they should be.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
all right, we have a motion second, and any further questions or discussion?
I've got a question.
What?
As far as the discount from what you're offering or what the grant would pay for that, say I wanted to upgrade to the full service that I already have, how would we honor that? How long would that last?
So let me, can
So
I
this
ask
is a different person besides myself. Say I've never had it. I
You've
get
never had it?
We're talking about hooking it up. I like it. 3 months later, I decide to upgrade. You're talking about a discount for these folks.
Yeah, so what it would be, so the discount is actually, so if, let's say that somebody says, 25.3 is not enough for my business. I really need 100 meg up and down.
Right.
We would take the $25 off the $89 for them during this 2 or 3 month period, is how we would do it. So then after the 3 months, they would pay the $89 going forward.
All right.
And let me say this, to be full, because I want to say everything I said in the meeting. This is the first step of resolving. We have an issue in regards to education that I just don't want to, if we come back and have to have more conversations down the road, but we're trying to take care of, there's a lot of low income that have no connectivity today. And those kids were not educated from when we left school out till they came back this fall. So this is an answer to try fixing it quickly, as fast as we can with some state money. But I just want to be very transparent. We don't think this is the end all to everything that we have. We know that this step is a step in the right direction of getting connectivity. And once we have those fibers, then we can deal with what we need to do.
Further questions?
Oh.
Okay, we have a motion second. No further questions. We'll ask for a roll call vote.
Anderson.
Yes.
Gelding.
Yes.
Flex.
Yes.
Moore.
No.
Parker.
Yes.
The vote's 4-1. Anything else? We're limited on what we can discuss in a call meeting, but anything else in regard to this issue? There is one thing that we need to talk about, the September meeting date. The first meeting date, our regular meeting date would be on Labor Day. In the past, we've moved it back 1 week to a Monday, or there have been some times when the Tuesday fit better for that meeting. I think our city attorney has an issue with going on Tuesday, but you can say in your sidekick if the board wants to meet on Tuesday night.
At the pleasure of the board.
Are you talking about the Tuesday before September the 4th or after?
The day after.
You're talking about.
Oh, you're just talking about the day after.
The 8th or the 14th.
Yes,
Okay.
the 8th would be, the Labor Day is on the 7th, which would be our meeting
Oh,
day.
okay.
We could meet the 8th, which is on a Tuesday, or we can meet the 14th, which is the following Monday, whatever pleases.
Following Monday would work better for me.
Monday.
I won't be here, if we do it on the 14th, I will be here, but I won't be there.
Okay. Any objections at all? Hearing none, we'll set our next meeting for September the 14th, which will be a Monday week after Labor Day. I think that's all the administrative stuff that we need. We appreciate everybody being here, and we appreciate you thinking of us with this grant, and Bobby's work on it as well. He's been working to get broadband across this area and doing a fine job as well. So with no further business, we'll stand adjourned.
There you are.
We're glad we at least got it.
I need to, give you my name and write it down.
Yeah, credit card.
Do whatever
I've
you
been
need
there.
to do. That's my guy.
Oh, it's in the mouth.
Really good
It's in the mouth.
So whatever,
Yeah, it's on the
Oh,
side.
Hey, if you need help with it, I'll come help you with it. I'm getting a lot of practice. Get my preacher next door to help me with it.
Make sure that we get on the wheels. Because y'all, I figure you're gonna be coming down. You're already gonna go
Right.
Explain to them that they can let this be done.
We're doing something similar.
Well, it's there.
It's just like this turn watch, she made it, and then it was sick.
Yeah.
Well, that'll
Well, she's
get
already got it.
All right.
She's
He didn't see,
We would give him 30 days, or, I don't know, but.
I mean, 30 days.
It's on
fine.
you. Right, and you can stay.
Remediation.
And then
Thank you
once
very much.
you
Thank
do
you,
it,
appreciate
won't
it.
ever walk from
thank you very much. I don't know if you're shaking or
No.
not.